We want to take a moment to honor the Indigenous communities whose ancestral lands we live and work on, and whose traditions of kinship, care, and chosen family have existed long before Western definitions. We recognize that many queer and trans people have long looked to these ways of being to reclaim connection outside of bloodlines. At this episode, we offer in deep respect and gratitude.
I do always really encourage people. This has been it was a trend for a little while on Instagram and other social medias, but it shouldn't just be a trend. It should be something that we really think about in our lives, to look up your land that you currently live on, your city, your state, your county, whatever, and see the Native American tribes that inhabited that land. Work that into your ritual somehow this month of honoring those peoples, and making a real effort to remind yourself that this land was taken forcibly from people who rightfully lived here for thousands of years before Europeans got here. So that's definitely something that I would like to challenge our listeners to do. If you have not done so already, look up the Native American tribe or tribes that lived in your area and make sure that you're honoring them in some way. I would also really encourage our listeners, this season we are talking a lot about joy, and this topic of especially Thanksgiving in relation to the Native Americans can get very heavy and sad, rightfully so. It's not a fun topic. But I do really encourage you to enlighten yourself if you haven't before. Read up on the true history behind the celebration, because it's important, especially right now with everything going on, that we make sure that we keep true history alive and that we're really educating ourselves in what happened here in the United States of America. So yeah, we're taught a very specific thing about Thanksgiving, and that's not necessarily the truth. It's good, even with all the joy that we're trying to find right now, it's good to still keep yourself informed.
And if you're looking for a book on U.S. history and all of that, I highly suggest Howard Zinn's A People's History of the United States.
Yes.
It's very
Yes.
dense. I will warn you, it's very, very dense, and it can be very sad, but
Yeah.
that's the truth. Welcome back to Unpacking the Closet, the Queer Joy editions. I'm Geri.
And I'm Caitlin. This season, we're exploring how queer joy shows up, not just in moments of fun, but as something sacred, political, and deeply human.
Today, we're talking about something that feels especially sacred this time of year: the families we choose.
Not everyone grew up with a table where they felt seen, safe, or celebrated, but queer folks, we've always found a way to build our own.
So today we're pulling up a chair to talk about chosen family, how we find it, how we nurture it, and how it feeds us in every sense.
So excited for this episode. I love a good Friendsgiving.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Do you have any lined up?
I unfortunately have to work the night of our Friendsgiving, but I know. It's a bummer. It's also the same day as Clara and my 4-year anniversary, which sucks because I definitely asked for it off, but they did not give it to me. But Clara's friend group that she has does a Friendsgiving every year. One of her friends always hosts it at her apartment complex by like the pool area. Yeah, it's really fun. It's been a really fun tradition to like get to be part of, because they already had it when I came into the scene. They were already doing that. So I wish I could do it this year, but I don't.
I know it's tough with timing, but
yeah,
there will be others.
Yeah. What about you? Are you doing
we do not the well, actually, I think we did get invited to a Friendsgiving on the day of Thanksgiving, but we also have another one that's happening next week as well. So yeah. I think a lot of people are like not being around, bio family this year.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot more people like wanting to get together with friends, and, I guess that's very timing for this episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Too, talking about chosen family. It's interesting because I think as queer folks, we talk about chosen family a lot. And we talk about the history of chosen family going back to the AIDS crisis. We talk about that in like a sociology kind of way with Kath Weston's term families we choose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think queer people are kind of used to redefining kinship or throwing that word around a lot.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, chosen family isn't just about who shows up for you, it's who sees you in every version without condition. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, the people around you that really give you that support that you need, the emotional safety maybe, or validation that you need that maybe your biological family falls short with.
mhm.
Sometimes the people that you choose to be around, the friends you bring in, sometimes even coworkers, it can be all sorts of people which we'll go through, but can end up giving you more of that than your actual family members, and that's okay, and that's just as valid to celebrate this time with them.
I think it's interesting too with I've been actually rethinking chosen family a lot recently, not just with the time of the year, but because Al and I just got married, but seeing who really shows up for you,
Yeah,
or like realizing people who have been in your life for so long and supported you, and then finally using the words of like, oh, you are family,
yeah.
and I had that instance kind of happen at the wedding where an old family friend had come up and we were having a conversation. It was like, oh, I've known you like my whole life. Like I've seen you maybe more than some of my biological family. And
Hmm.
then I kind of like had that moment of like, oh, like you are family too. Like
Yeah,
how interesting that this is the first time I'm putting those words together.
yeah,
So even folks that are, I guess, educated on what chosen family is, sometimes it just happens.
yeah,
And you didn't even put a word to it, and that person is just there for you.
yeah, absolutely. I saw that at your wedding with your best friend too. I could
Yeah.
really see that. I was like, so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cute. She was so cute. She made me cry. All of your, well, all the, I'm a sap, so all of the, every single one made me cry. I was like, oh,
It's okay. I think that's when people give the speeches you're supposed to cry.
yeah, 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 yeah.
If you're not
But
crying, you're laughing. And that's good.
I was like, it's not even my wedding, and I'm bawling. I'm like over here. It was just so sweet. But yeah, I could just tell even the moments where like your best friend wasn't up talking to everybody, or when you guys weren't even there, and she was just talking to me and Clara. I could just tell how much love she had for you and like how happy she was. And I was like, oh, like it really did feel like she was almost like your sister.
Oh, a
So I was
thousand
like,
percent. A
yeah. So that
thousand
was really
percent.
sweet.
Yeah, it's good to have people in your life that are part of your community. And I think also making new rituals and traditions with these people, as well as thanking them for their presence. I definitely think it's worth telling folks that are important to you that they're important to you, not just on weddings, but any other time. I think also, looking at new traditions and things with them too, and just being flexible with that.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and I think it's important also, like I think um we can kind of get stuck on chosen family in people's minds being like very specifically just like people that you're not biologically related to that you've chosen to put into your family. But
Mm-hmm.
in for me, and I don't know if they would consider this chosen family, but for me, it also resonates with me even with some of my biological family members in the sense that like I don't have brothers and sisters. I'm an only child, but for me, my I have two cousins that I would consider more like my siblings than my cousins that I go to, that I trust more, that you know what I mean, that I have like a different relationship with than the rest of my family, who I know I can tell things to. They're not going to talk to my other family members, and it feels different. So for me, they have a different familial relationship than what biologically they have to me. So even though they're my cousins, I see them as siblings.
Well, and I think that speaks to our queerness and flexibility in those roles
Mm.
of things, because a lot of, I mean, I think with families, I think I have cousins too that I'm much closer with, or who I love to say you're my cousin, but you're also my friend. And
Mm.
that's different than just saying like we're related.
Oh
Like, because
yeah.
there's an aspect of friendship and trust that maybe isn't there with every single family member. And I come from a very large extended family. But I think too, just understanding that there's a flexibility of these roles, that they don't, like, just because you're not biologically related doesn't mean you don't take on some kind of familial
Yeah.
role in someone's life. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, whether you're queer or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember, do you have
Mm.
someone that you know, was it your best friend? Who was your first person that you can
Yeah.
say, like,
No,
this was my
I would say, I mean, I think that's when I realized, because I've known Krista since I was very young, like a teenager. So, and we spent a lot of time together when she was like 12. So we, kind of have that like familial relationship. So I've always considered her to be family.
Mm,
And I would say that I was maybe like 13, 14, maybe 14 when we met. 14.
yeah.
So yeah, I would say so, definitely. But I think my idea of chosen family kind of maybe stems from that too, is just understanding that sometimes people are just in your life and then they're there a long time and you have that trust and that understanding and you argue like siblings and that's what it is. How else do you explain it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I would say for me, like my first chosen family member, it's so interesting because my family is very much like they're very welcoming. They've kind of always, my granny has always had this sense of like everybody was welcome. So I don't really remember it ever being an active choice for me, the first people that I would consider like chosen family, but they were brought in from like my aunts, my uncles, my,
Right.
whatever. And there were these people that were always around that were not related to us that I, considered part of our family. So, and I think really, if you think about it, even in terms of like marriage, right? A lot of people don't think about it, but you have chosen family members within your family
Right.
constantly.
You married them.
You marry, yeah, your aunt married this guy or whatever. And when I was
Mm-hmm.
going through a really hard time in my childhood when my father was in prison, and I didn't have a dad, and it was like pivotal years for me where like elementary school and they do a lot of like, oh, it's Father's Day, let's do Father's Day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They do that a lot. So I didn't have a father to like show up for those things. Oh, that's sad. No, but also it's like a happy thing, right? Like it's like
Right.
I'm thinking about happy things, but it makes you cry. But I my aunt's significant other stepped in at one point. Like my actual biological uncle stepped in one year, uh, but then my aunt's future husband, they were not married at the time even. They were just dating still, but he ended up being one to step in one time and like be that father figure for me. So like, you have chosen family even within your family, and sometimes you didn't bring them in, but they become just as important to you as your actual family members. So I would say for me, those are the first times that I remember being like, oh, there's like chosen family within my family. You know what I mean? Like this person's not related to me, but I see them as a
Oh, a
family member.
1000%. I think, like I said earlier, I think chosen family has a specific meaning with queerness, but we can see how the word is so expansive beyond just
Absolutely.
queerness. I think we use it a lot in queerness because of that rejection from
Yes.
often the biological family. But there are lots of reasons that you would have people in your life that are
Yeah.
chosen family, even if you are straight or don't relate to the queer community in that way.
Yeah.
And this is a good example of like, oh, this, we had a family situation and somebody else decided to step in and take the role because they care.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
isn't that what family is about, is that love and care for the others?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there you go. I actually found out recently that the thing I made for him for that Father's Day, he still has.
That's so cute.
He kept it. I'm like, oh, he's like, that's the first time because they didn't have kids yet. So he's like, that's the first time anybody made me like a Father's Day thing or
Oh,
whatever. And I
that's
was like,
so sweet.
oh,
I'm
I'm gonna
gonna
cry.
cry.
Oh, so sweet. My Uncle Ken, he's the best. Oh,
Shout out to
anyway.
Uncle Ken.
Shout out to you, Uncle Ken. We love you. Yeah, he's so sweet. Anyway, now that I've made myself cry, let's keep going here. But yeah, so we have a lot of, especially during the holiday season, right? We see this a lot more. We really start talking about it more, the community. And we have a lot of different types of, I think Friendsgiving is one that is the most widely known and the most widely
Yes.
used, even with outside of the queer community. People use Friendsgiving all the time. But we also have Queermas and we have Transgiving. We have even you could relate things like solstice circles, like
Hmm.
people who believe or like practice pagan beliefs, or they just want to celebrate the solstice and not necessarily maybe a specific denominational holiday. We'll get together and have like winter solstice circles. And all of these are ways of like community building and bringing in new traditions with people that you love and care about.
I went to what was it? It was like a queer Rosh Hashanah dinner or
Oh,
something
fun.
along those. It wasn't recently, it was a couple years ago, but we went to like a traditional cat. We went to a traditional like Jewish celebratory dinner. I think it was Rosh Hashanah. I think it was Rosh Hashanah. Um, but we went to one, and the person that was putting it on redid a lot of the like Jewish traditions and celebration of queer identities and ones that she subscribed
Oh,
to and the people of the group, and it was really beautiful. And I think there's a lot of different ways that you can even take like traditional rituals or traditions and without losing touch with the parts of those things that speak to you, that you can
yeah.
recreate or I want to say edit, but that seems like chat speak. You can edit the ritual so that it fits more so like who you are and reflects your beliefs, because we know a lot of these like original religious traditions left out women, a lot of times left out queer folks. And so who's to say that we can't reclaim those and
Yeah.
redo them in a way that is reflective of who everyone is and celebrate that way too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're kind of the two of us
Mm-hmm.
and our wives and another wife couple friend that, we have are all going to kind of do that in December. We're taking a tradition that I had with my mom and some of her friends that came from Czechia. At the time, Czech Republic. They've now renamed the country to Czechia. But one of my mom's friends was from Czechia and had brought this tradition with her and had shared it with us. And then for many years, we did it with her. And now she's moved back to Czechia. We haven't done it for years. And I've been really missing it. It's something that was really like special for me that I loved. And now we're redoing it. And now you guys are coming over to our house and we're going to completely redo this tradition.
I just had a light bulb moment. Should
Yeah,
we take pictures of us
100%.
doing this?
100%. I actually thought about like
It's
recording some
like,
of it.
I was like, we should record some of it.
I thought about recording some of it. Yeah, we could. Absolutely. Maybe we do. Maybe you'll
Couldn't
get
we
a
just
special
look
of
at a
our
special of us
what am
making
I calling
cookies?
it? Oh my gosh, now I forgot. It's the great, oh my gosh, what did I call it? Oh, dang.
I know, I
Where's
have it in
our
my text somewhere too. It's
where's
buried
our
underneath.
I know, I'm like, where's our group chat with everybody? Wifeys. I called the group chat wifeys.
I love that.
The Great Czech Cookie Bake. We're
That's
doing a Great Czech Cookie Bake.
hilarious.
None of us are from Czechia, but like I said, this was something that was brought to my mom and I via her friend and coworker at the time. And when she moved, she gave us all the recipes. She emailed us all the recipes so we could still make the cookies if we wanted to. So yeah, so we're gonna get together. We're gonna make Czech cookies. We're gonna have soup and just have a good time. So kind of the same thing. We're not doing a Friendsgiving, but we're doing almost more of like a solstice
It's a
Yule
holiday
holiday thing. Yeah.
celebration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Love that.
And the cookies are so good, and a bunch of them have alcohol, so that's also
Oh,
fun.
yum. We love alcoholic cookies.
Alcohol, and lots of butter. So, it's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a yummy time for sure. I love
Yeah.
baking.
Yeah, and this kind of brings us into our next thing of how food and ritual bond us. So,
Mhm.
please.
1,000%. And I think, this is just one example of the way in which we can create new rituals
Mm,
and celebrations together.
yeah.
I think some other things might be like gratitude circles or like letter writing, memory altars,
Hmm.
those kinds of things.
Yeah. What were you going to say about baking though?
I love baking.
Did I just love baking?
That's where I was going. And then I was thinking of all the baking rituals I have around the holidays, like with my grandma and stuff like that.
Mm,
And it's hard sometimes because a lot of folks are like gluten free and all of that, which is,
yeah.
I
Uh-huh,
respect
uh-huh.
it. I totally get it. But it's nice to be able to share like family recipes, whether chosen or bio, with other people. Cause I think baking is one of those things that has traditionally been something that brings people together.
Yeah, it brings us together. And there's something, Claire and I were just talking about this the other day. She bought like chocolate chip cookies from like the store or something. And I was talking about how it's just not the same. Eating
Mm-hmm.
store-bought cookies is just not the same. They never taste the same. And sure, some of that is like the additives that they put in there, right? But Clara kind of said, like, well, yeah, I mean, they're not made with love. And I was
Mm.
like, we say that. You hear that a lot, right? Like, oh, like I cooked with love. I made this with love, whatever. She said that before too, between like, she tried to like make some food that her mom traditionally makes. And she was like, it's not as good. It's not made with the love like my mom makes it, because Claire's not a big cooker. So she's like, but anyway, I am a big believer that actually does make a difference when you like bake things with like intention. Anytime you do anything with intention, but you bake things with intention, and a lot of times it does happen to be baking, especially during the holidays, we bake a lot of things. But I really do feel like there is, I don't know what it is exactly, is if it's like an energy that gets put into it, or if like just because you love doing it or you're doing it for someone that you love so much, somehow it really does make everything taste better.
I think it's like an act of completion too. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I made this. Like, I finished this. This is yours. Also, butter helps. I
Well, yeah,
think butter
butter
helps.
always helps. Yeah.
Nothing beats the real butter. That's the truth. Vegans don't
I
come
love
for
butter.
me. I know. I know it's not animal friendly to use the butter, but use your
Look.
vegan alternative, if you
Yeah, yeah.
can. Sugar, also not good for you, but what can we do?
Oh, I
We
know.
love cookies.
Oh, I know. I know.
No, but there's
Yeah, but
something
it's
to
so
be
good.
say of the effort that it like putting effort into anything, I think makes a difference. And especially with baking, that can make a huge difference too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what it is, but yeah, absolutely. Food and ritual really has been used for beyond centuries. I
Hmm.
mean, truly, food has always been a thing that has connected people with each other.
Well, into their cultures as well. I
Yes.
think it's
Yeah.
like we were talking about passing along traditions,
Hmm.
whether it's something that's been passed to you or something you developed. There's something about like redefining what that tradition looks like and
Yeah.
redefining what togetherness looks like.
Yeah. And this is an important topic too, with everything happening right now with like SNAP benefits and things like
Hmm.
that. You really think about how important food is to us. Like it's a vital nutrient. It's a vital thing that we need to survive. And somebody taking time out of their day to cook you something or buy you food or whatever it might be,
Or even just
it
sitting
says
down
so
at the
much.
table with people. I mean, before
Yeah.
we got distracted by um, computers and phones and Instagram, we sat down at sat down and communed
Yeah.
together. And that was where people would come together and talk about their day. Or although I do know that sometimes the dinner table can be triggering for people too, and that's fair if you've had any traumatic instances that have happened around food or dinner.
Yeah.
That's fair as well. But I think even food or other ways that we can redefine what togetherness looks like for a lot of people, and that could be a virtual dinner or
Yeah.
some kind of virtual conversation with somebody, or enjoying your morning coffee on Zoom with a friend. I've done that several times. It's a great way to get creative with your time, if you can't like
Yeah.
sit down with others.
Yeah, movie nights.
Oh, I love a good movie
Um,
night.
movie nights are a good one. Maybe, yeah, maybe you don't want to do like a whole big meal with a bunch of your friends, but you do all want to see each other, and you all just get together at someone's house just to watch a movie on Netflix, or whatever it might be.
Or maybe even giving back to the community. I think that's a really good
Absolutely
way.
volunteering.
Yeah, to like spend your time, especially I see this a lot during the holidays as people start picking up volunteering and stuff, because something about the holidays makes people want to help other people, which is great. We love that, especially when it's cold outside and people need blankets and food,
Yeah.
or like maybe making care packages or donating to your local organizations extra money or your time,
Yeah.
especially during the holidays for folks that might really need it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really important to know that like chosen family and chosen ritual around these times, it can look like anything. It can look like
Hmm.
anything for everybody. It's different for everybody. It could be just one person. You could have one person that you're like, this person is my chosen person. And I'm perfectly happy just being at home with them, watching a movie. And that is enough for me. That's my happy spot. That's my happy place for the season. And that's valid. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's just it just looks like so much. And that's one of the beautiful things about it. I just
It
love it.
doesn't, yeah, I mean, you're right. It doesn't need to be a crowd.
Mhm.
I think there's something to be said. I think kind of what we're alluding to here is that intentional time that you
Mhm.
spend with other people. And
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter whether it's playing a video game or eating a whole Friendsgiving dinner or baking cookies or talking to your friend on the phone or your sister from far away or sister from another family, whatever. I just think there's so many ways that we could do that. And I think around this time of the year, a lot of people get really sad during the holidays because they don't feel like they have a lot of people in their life, or they've lost family members or friends, and it can be a really difficult time to celebrate holidays if you're not feeling 100%. And given
Mhm.
everything that's been going on in the world, if that's you and you're not feeling 100%, that's
Valid.
totally valid.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said of when, even if we're not feeling 100%, or if we have the energy or capability to just do something with intention. We've talked about
Mm.
setting up altars
Mhm.
with intention and how it doesn't have to be some elaborate thing. And I think the same goes for spending time with people. There's
Yeah.
so many people this year. I've just been putting it out there. I'm like, I want to be in my PJs watching a movie. Do you want to come over and do that instead of like going out and spending hundreds of dollars to go to the bar or something?
Right.
About that like intentional time with other people and putting out there like what you want and seeing who's going to respond to that.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, this just popped up in my head. This wasn't a note that we had for this at all, but I think another important note could be, if we want to leave this in, that a lot of times during the holidays, and I think partly because people get sad around this season, but also partly because there is a societal expectation around the holidays
Yep.
that there's going to
Mhm.
be a lot more alcohol. And
Mhm.
people kind of do expect you to go out and drink or to have like, oh, there's going to be all these holiday specials, right? Holiday special drinks, holiday special cocktails, things like that. And I think it's important for people to remember that like it's just as valid to stay home in your PJs and watch a movie with friends. You don't have to go out. We already have a lot higher prevalence of addiction in the queer community because of the things we've gone through, the sadness that we do have, and the disconnect a lot of times. And then that gets worse during the season. So I want this to really be a reminder for people that that you don't have to go out to a bar, you don't have to go out and club or anything like that to celebrate this season with people that you love. And the people who are your chosen family, who really do love and care about you and support you, will be down to just stay at your house and watch movies with some popcorn.
I
Or,
love that you said this because that's
yeah,
100% true. There's a lot
yeah,
of there's a lot of pressure, I think, societally around this time of year to drink or
yeah,
to participate in using substances, and, you know, to each their own. But if that's something that you're not doing right now, that's great.
yeah,
And I hope that you will find support with the people around you. And if not, maybe we can link some resources too for folks. I know there's a great resource for online uh, 12-step meetings. It's called In the Rooms. So if
yeah.
anybody, can't find something in person that they want to attend and need a meeting, there is that. I know there are lots of other resources for folks out there. So, you know, check them out, see what else is going on. There's a lot of sober events too. There's a few LGBT sober events that go on, at least here in Los Angeles. So definitely check those out too.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe look into things like one of the things that's been helping me in my journey to consume less alcohol. Not that I've ever been a big drinker, but I do have addiction that runs, unfortunately, in both sides of my family. And so I am very much prone to it. And I have had moments in my life where I've been like, ooh, okay, I need to be careful right now.
Hmm.
So I really try to stay away from it as much as possible, which is hard with society pressure. So one of the things that's really been helping me and helps around the holidays is knowing that, like, first of all, mocktails are an option and are valid and are
So good.
delicious. So there's nothing wrong with that. Hot chocolate is bomb. Apple cider is fantastic. So
Ah,
really,
I
you
want some
don't
apple
need,
cider.
like, truly, like, really, you don't need the alcohol. But I also, like, as a tea lover, I try to, like, find holiday teas that I like and I keep those around the house. Like, when we make our cookies, I'll probably make like holiday tea for us
Oh, I'm so excited.
rather than like having a bunch of alcoholic options. And like, obviously, if that's something that one of you guys wants to bring, you can. But this is just, and again, like Jerry Lynn said, to each their own. If you're able to like drink and it's not a problem, and you're really good at like moderating those things for yourself, that's fantastic. And you like
Great.
to do that occasionally, absolutely go for it. But this is more just for those people who do have a harder time with that, do have addiction that runs in their family like I do, etc. There's so many options, and it's so valid to choose one of those options instead of the alcoholic option. And I used to worry that, like, one of the reasons that I would still drink even when we went out with people is I used to worry, like, because of society, because you think that that's what you're supposed to do and that you think that's what everybody else thinks you're supposed to do, that you need to. And I've realized more and more as I've chosen the non-alcoholic option that no one cares. I thought they would. In my head, they did. But once I started doing it, no one cares. No one second guesses me. No one. And the people who are going to push it on you are not people you want around, and they're not your chosen family. You know what I mean? So yeah. So
I
you're
love
valid.
that. I
Yeah.
love that. I think that's important to talk about
Yeah.
during the holidays.
Yeah.
Addiction runs rapid in the community. It runs in people's families. It's important to use moderation when you can.
Yeah.
Know yourself well enough to explore that. And if you are exploring that, suggest find a nice therapist to walk you through that if you need it.
Absolutely.
Throwing that out there.
Not that she's a nice therapist or anything.
Maybe does it maybe it's someone who specializes in addiction, but nonetheless, I yeah, I think like during this time, stepping back into celebrating the holidays as well, let's let queer joy take center stage. It's
Yeah.
not always the easiest thing to do, I think, during times like we've had in the US this year. It has been a little bit more difficult than other years for some
Mm.
of us. And finding queer joy isn't easy. If it
Mm.
was, we wouldn't be doing a whole podcast about joy because we needed it.
Yeah.
And I think at this time we can celebrate that with chosen family. So whether that be biological family or people in your life, taking that intentional time to celebrate with others and celebrate who we are and how far we've come is a beautiful option.
Yeah, yeah. So some things to think about, um, maybe to help you with your journey. Maybe you haven't found that chosen family or you don't know where to start or, some things to think about. Um, you know, like what ritual or tradition um does popped in your head when we started talking about these topics where you're like, "Oh, that sounds fun," or, "Oh, I've always liked the idea of this," or, we all have something that pops in our head. So maybe that's where you start, or maybe it was something that you're like, maybe while we were discussing chosen family you went, you know what, that person is not doing that for me. You know what I mean? So what are some rituals or traditions or even people that you either want to start being around more, start doing more, or leave behind? That's a great prompt for this time of year. And who is someone in your chosen family or your friend group? Maybe you haven't started calling them your chosen family yet, but someone who's around you, that you're grateful for, that does bring joy into your life, that does give you comfort and security. And maybe that's who the first person that popped in your head when I said that, maybe that's who you start spending more time with around this time.
I love that. I also
Yeah.
think, we talked a little bit about this, but how can you extend that feeling of belonging to others? We
Yeah.
know what it's like to feel like we don't belong in this community. And I guess maybe it's less of a question and more of a challenge for our listeners. Like how can you extend that feeling of belonging to others during the season? Maybe it is, getting a care kit together for the unhoused, or maybe it's as simple as inviting someone over that you haven't seen in a long time to watch movies and
Mhm.
eat popcorn, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good reminder that joy isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just in a shared meal, a text message, just knowing that you belong somewhere or to or with someone.
And wherever you are, you may always find that table waiting, even if you built it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Building
Thank you for spending time with us this season where queer joy takes center stage.
from our chosen family to yours. Happy Queermas, happy solstice, happy Friendsgiving, and may your joy be loud, soft, and yours entirely. Yay!
Yay! Keep showing up even when it's messy. We'll see you next time in the closet.